I want to turn here. I mean, and part of that, I guess, is as it starts becoming more national. Now, of course, locally, it's a different story. But as it becomes more national, the this coming election certainly may have implications for any of these things having a hearing. I mean, I'm curious as to your take on this, but I want to first play this clip from President Obama this weekend. He was speaking to the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and he got pretty animated in terms of arguing that people should get out and vote, and tied it into his own personal legacy, as well as, I think, to be fair, the a broader progressive agenda that he ostensibly has started. Here's a clip of that.
So that they could pull that lever. So if I hear anybody saying their vote does not matter, that it doesn't matter who we elect, read up on your history. It matters. We've got to get people to vote. In fact, if you want to give Michelle and me a good send-off, and that was a beautiful video, but don't just watch us walk off into the sunset now, get people registered to vote. If you care about our legacy, realize everything we stand for is at stake. All the progress we've made is at stake in this election. My name may not be on the ballot, but our progress is on the ballot. Tolerance is on the ballot. Democracy is on the ballot. Justice is on the ballot. Good schools are on the ballot. Ending mass incarceration, that's on the ballot right now. And there is one candidate who will advance those things. And there is another candidate whose defining principle, the central theme of his candidacy, is opposition to all that we've done. There's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. It all matters. And after we have achieved historic turnout in 2008 and 2012, especially in the African American community, I will consider it a personal insult, an insult to my legacy, if this community lets down its guard and fails to activate itself in this election. You want to give me a good send-off? Go vote!
So there it is. It's he would take it as a personal insult. Give me your reaction to that, Lester Spence.
Well, one, analytically, he's right. That is to say that Trump represents clear improvement to everything that progressives stand for. And there are people who are suggesting that there is no difference or there's little difference between Trump and Clinton. And those people are absolutely wrong. And I say that, and I'm pretty sure I'm voting for Jill Stein. But I can cast a vote for Jill Stein and simultaneously recognize that there is a big difference between Trump and Clinton. And if Trump were to be elected, we would be in more danger than any time I have ever been in as an adult. And even going back to when I was a kid, and I was born in '69. So on that, analytically, he's right. But the way he gets there is deeply, deeply problematic. In that he's consistently, as he's been president over the past two terms, wrapped up the black agenda in his own body, right? So in that case, he's saying, to do my legacy justice, you need to get out the vote. When what he should really be saying, and if the CBC was a bit more accountable to the black people who tended to vote for them, what he would really be saying, what the CBC would really be saying is it's in your interest to vote because of this, and this. It's not, you shouldn't vote because a group of elites are concerned about their legacy. You shouldn't vote because we want to give Obama and his wife a good send-off, you should vote because it's in your interest. What that indicates on Obama's side is that he still has kind of a deep disdain for regular people in general, and some would argue black people specifically, right? Like, I mean, why would he? Under what circumstance would it be logical for him to make an argument where somebody like Trump is running for president? Like, I want you to vote against Trump because it would basically make me look good. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.
I mean, let me offer a theory and get your take on it. I mean, I agree, and I actually think this is sort of indicative of a greater problem in terms of what we've seen from Clinton, frankly, in terms of articulating an affirmative message that goes beyond. I mean, the only thing I can think, and I'm not sure that I actually agree with this, but the argument that Obama has always operated under the belief that to articulate policies that are specifically oriented to black people, or that specifically makes it toxic within our society, and that it's only safer for him to be sort of a metaphor for all those things. I mean, like, even when he's talking about sort of these broad principles, and at one point in the speech, he says, especially in the African-American community. I mean, he's at the CBC. We know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right.
But he still has to sort of make it like all these things happened. And particularly, as if it was a side feature. But that idea of I think there is some validity, whether I agree with it or not, to the idea that black folk have projected onto Obama a lot of things that encompass a lot more than just him, but they come out in some,
Yes.
some form of pride in some way that he represents things that maybe he doesn't necessarily represent, but it makes one feel better if they do feel that he does.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that part in there. Although, and I think you're right about the first your assessment about kind of what he feels like he can and can't say is kind of on the mark. But this is what it misses. You take something like Clinton's policy, and it's important to note that Bernie and folks on the left pushed her to adopt it. Clinton's platform or her platform idea about making public education free for people making $125,000 and less. So if that policy gets implemented, I mean, granted, it'd be hard, but if your kid gets accepted to a school like the University of Michigan, go blue, if you made $125,000 or less, I think that's the number, your kid would go there for free.
Yep.
Right? Now, that policy is universal, right? It was means tested, but it's not race tested. Everybody, a whole bunch of black people would benefit from that policy, right? So Obama could have theoretically used a set of policies that Clinton was actually supporting and argued that black people would disproportionately benefit. And instead of arguing you need to do that to basically make sure I go out on a good note, right? But still, he has this, he believes, I think he does understand that black people are kind of wrapped up in him. But black people aren't just wrapped up in him. Like, black people tend to be pretty sophisticated in their voting choices. And that's really not in him because his politics are bad in this way and other ways. But I wish he could have spoken in that. Yeah,
and I would say it's a complaint I have too with Clinton. I mean, I think that we've seen this complete absence of promoting these policies. That I guess there's still this sort of allergy in the Democratic Party, even to sort of articulate it in the context of a general. And we're looking at a general election where I don't think that Donald Trump has criticized a single policy point held by anybody. I mean, short of like the height of a wall.
Yeah.
So there's certainly room to do that. And there's certainly room to do that for the president in that context. Hey folks, Sam Seder here. I just got back from a company-wide meeting. Accounting is really coming down on me hard. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So please enjoy this channel. Subscribe right down there.